Hey, welcome to Feedback Def. I'm Saby Arcade, the apostate music journalist, and I have a question for you. Why do we do music rankings? And if you like music rankings, what is it that you're looking for when you check out a list like 50 greatest blah 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 guitarists or albums, 10 greatest songs by so and so, so and so's entire discography, all their albums ranked? What is the purpose of these? What do you like about them? What do you not like about them? As a writer, I've always, when asked, whenever an editor has asked me, hey, do you want to be part of this album's ranking? I always say yes. Or when they've asked me to do listicles or I've proposed them, right? And that's because any excuse I have to talk about individual records, I'm all about it. I'll jump on it anytime. Someone's like, you want to be in part of this ranking? I'm like, yes, I'll do it. And I almost never care about how the editor or, usually what happens is they get a bunch of writers together, at least two or sometimes more, like a team, and they'll have us vote and do our own personal ranking, and then they'll sort of average them out from there. Rarely do I give a damn where the rankings are. There was one time where I was part of an AC/DC albums ranking for Consequence of Sound, where I was like, no, you can't put this album above this album. And I actually pushed really hard against the writer who was arguing opposite, and then the editor had to kind of referee and was like, okay, Saby, fine, we'll indulge you. Because I was like, no, I'm not budging on this. I think it was it was the other writer who ended up being an editor of mine at Paste as well. He wanted to he was big on the AC/DC album The Razor's Edge, and the editor wanted to rank it above the album For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, which is one of my favorite AC/DC albums, one of my two favorite albums. Normally I wouldn't even, it's whatever, who cares about that? I just want to talk about these individual records. But for some reason I was like, no, I will not accept this. But if I was talking in person, I would never be like, well, you're wrong. I would never try to lobby for the album I love more than that one. Which gets to my bigger point. Why? What are we expecting from these rankings? There have been a bunch of times where I've proposed lists to editors, hey, I want to do a list of the most unique albums from the 90s or something. 10 albums from a certain genre that you should listen to or something, right? I always try to steer clear of using the term the best. But the editors always change those to the best, right? For the last, I think, 4 years, I've done a box set roundup at the end of each year. Here's a bunch of box sets. For me, it's here's a bunch of box sets you might want to check out, or even maybe my favorite ones or whatever. But the editors always change them to the best, the best, the best. It's well, how can we say this? Now, I should clarify, when I do these year-end box set rankings, which I'll link to my last several in the description, they are kind of ranked, right? I sort of weigh in my head. I actually put way too much time and energy into what is the order of the list going to be? But it's not simply ranked. It's there's also a flow of going from one style to another style, this artist to this artist. And as you get higher up the list, it's kind of I look at it more like a sculpture, with the very top of it being this sort of shiniest ornament. And I love being able to say to the publicist or the artist, hey, your box set made the top of my list or was number 2 on my list. There's a real satisfaction in being able to share that with someone, that, hey, you accomplished this. I thought very highly of your box set. But it's not you can take it literally. And I absolutely support, I love working with editors on these, and I totally support them and why they would want to say, hey, these are the best, the ones we thought were, because I don't take that word so literally. It's more the ones we thought most highly of to recommend. But at the same time, I'm like weighing a bunch of different criteria, right? There's, with box sets in particular, there's obviously the music itself, some vague sense of the importance, quote unquote, of if it's like a reissue of the original album, or where that music fits into the body of work of the artist, how the music is arranged, so being able to sit down and actually listen to it, like how the listenability on the whole, the packaging, the graphic design, the liner notes, how many pictures, how informative it is, whether it fits comfortably on your shelf, or like right behind me, or whether it's this big giant honking thing that's like impractical to deal with, like manually, and where you put it, all that stuff. All those things factor in, right? But even if you got like 10 different people and you gave them the same 20 box sets to kind of arrange in a certain order, you'd get a bunch of different orders. And as an example, so the last year-end box set list I did was for Spin, but I also made suggestions to the editors at Paste for the box set list they ran. I'll link both of those in the description. And when Spin posted my list, somebody left a comment and was like, well, how do you leave off the replacements? And I don't really have a good answer for it. It's not like it shouldn't be on there. There was a bunch that I had to leave off, right? And that one did make Paste's list. So, it's not like we're AI and we're able to, with our brains, scan through every single release that's ever been made under that category, whatever the list is. That's not even possible. So when you say the best anything, it kind of implies, well, we have gazed out into the totality of all music, and we can say these are the ones we pulled out as selecting for the best ones. I can't wrap my head around even thinking that I'm aware of 5% of all the music that's made. So how the fuck do I know? To be honest, it's more just like I'm just throwing darts randomly in the direction that I know to look in. But there's all these other directions in music any individual person is not going to be aware of. In fact, you're aware of very little of it. So I don't take the term the best seriously. And I understand why outlets use that, because if it was just, oh, here's this contributor who's up to their neck in, box sets at the end of the year and keeps getting packages. And if you could see their room and, the chaos of trying to go through all this music and look at all these different packages, I know, rough life, right? That's not as exciting for search engine optimization. But that's my point. What is it that drives engagement for these? It's usually the disappointment. Well, I can't believe they didn't include this. It's well, why can't you just be oh yeah, this is a cool list. I would have put this on my list and leave it at that. The whole exercise, the whole dance of I'm going to react to this thing and think that they are wrong seems like a charade to me. Okay, you would have picked yours. Why are you expecting that we have this all-seeing eye? I mean, I guess it's because we use terms like the best. I guess we as the journalists are the ones who put ourselves in that position for people to expect that, but the whole thing seems silly and almost like a skit. We're going to say this with an excessive amount of authority. The best, the 10 best of 1995. And then you're going to react with mock outrage. Come on. This is just my lists, when all is said and done, are just here's 10 or 20 fucking things I think are cool and you might like too. That's it. I'm of the opinion, well, this isn't more than an opinion. This is a core value for me. There is no objective truth in music. You can poll people, right? You can say more people in history. If you could ask every person on earth that's ever lived since, I don't know, that first Velvet Underground record and Lou Reed's Metal Machine music, right? My guess is that in that case, if you polled everybody on Earth who had been alive from that time period to the time period Metal Machine music was out, or even today, anybody who cared, which one they liked more, the majority, perhaps even the overwhelming majority of people would answer the first Velvet Underground record. But so what? Because to the people that are like, no, Metal Machine music is the greatest thing I've ever heard, that's what it is for them. And who the fuck am I, or some ranking, to tell you otherwise? Rankings are there just to get people talking. I think, I don't know this for a fact. No editor has ever told me this, but it almost seems like, I mean, yes, they want clicks and they want to spark discussion and they want people to click to talk about it and repost it and come back to the link. But it's almost as if they're like trying to make people mad. And again, I don't know this. Like as a way of driving that traffic. I don't know how any person can expect that someone else's ranking is going to line up with what you think should be in the ranking and why you would even devote any energy to it. I can't believe they left out blah, blah, blah. This is so ridiculous. Like, well, what were you expecting? Why are we even having a 50 best anything anywhere? There's too much music. There are too many examples, period, of anything to rank them. It just seems such an odd, useless thing to do. My lists are all either my favorite or here's 10 or 20 blah that I recommend or that I think you should check out. That's it. That's all. And it's not meant to have me debate you or argue for my choices over yours. Like, no. Your choices are the choices. In your listening world, that's what's real, right? For you. That's your favorite shit. So I'm curious. I don't like rankings. I don't do them on my channel or on my own stuff. And I have a ton of fun participating. I love writing those blurbs. Mine are, if I had my druthers, I would take the word best out of everything. I would never, ever use the word better, and actually don't in my work, except when it's been put in there by an editor. But to me, it's like the dirtiest word in music journalism, in art commentary. No, has no place. There's no such thing. But what are you looking for when you check out rankings? How much do you like them? How much do you not like them? How much do you check them out? How much do you comment on them? I'd love to hear from you. I'd also love it if you hit the like and subscribe button. And I would love it if you also joined me over on Substack and followed me there, feedbackdef.substack.com. You get all my video stuff, all my audio podcast stuff, all my written stuff, and published stuff, and other fun things like photo galleries and other people's work that I pass along or repost on there, and little doodads and blurbs, and you get long essays and then like little like, hey, check this out kind of stuff, all jumbled into one place. So I would love it if you followed me there. For Feedback Def, I'm Saby Reyes-Kulkarni, the apostate music journalist. Over and out. Three, two, wait a minute. Is this, you better fucking believe this is recording, boy.